This weekend is a super special occasion, and in this video, we're gonna be making custom cake toppers. That's right, I'm getting married to this guy.
Sorry, gents, I'm off the market. Warhammer has been such a big part in our life and relationship that we wanted to include it in a small way in the wedding day. Warhammer isn't exactly known for its romances, but there's one romance that the fans want even if Games Workshop don't. And that's why for the groom for these wedding toppers, I'm going to be painting Roboute Guilliman.
And for the bride, I'm going to be painting up Yvraine.
This is gonna be fun. This video has been sponsored by Tacticus, and I'll talk a little bit more about my favorite mobile game later in the video.
So we are getting married on Saturday, which leaves me just 2 days to try and get this cake topper done. That's right, I have 2 days to paint up Yvraine and try to make this like one of the best paint jobs I ever done. This is, after all, going on top of our wedding cake. So how am I gonna paint her? Well, she's gonna be in a white wedding dress, so I'm actually gonna do a white undercoat spray and then add in some of those colors and try to make her look like she's a bride, which is gonna be super interesting. I'm very excited, but we've gotta go ahead and spray. So let's go outside, spray, and get started. So one of the interesting things about this model is I've actually already painted this once before. I got the Gathering Storm box and Yvraine was in it. It's really funny because painting this again, starting from complete scratch, I realized how far I've come as a painter. And I think comparing the two, it's really interesting to see that I actually am really preferring this one a lot more, but it's all just based on experience. I know how to paint things differently, how different colors work. So I'm actually really happy to be painting this again for a lot of different reasons other than just for my wedding.
You're getting married?
So I'm about halfway done with painting Yvraine up, but I want to talk to you guys a little bit about why we would even want to incorporate Warhammer on our big special day. And Warhammer can seem like this big corporate thing, but for Dave and I, it actually holds a lot of really special memories. For Dave in particular, he painted up the Chaos Space Marines when he was a kid, and he's loved Warhammer ever since, creating different iterations and finally completing armies that he can even play today. He has a massive love for Warhammer, and I think it's also very infectious. He loves to spread the joy and get everyone really excited about it. And I think that's also the reason why I got really excited about it. So it's probably about a decade ago that when I met Dave, he was into Warhammer and I knew about it, but I didn't know a whole lot about it. But I knew I really liked art and painting. And I thought this was something that we could share together as just a hobby to do as friends. And that would be really fun. Little did I know that I would actually fall deeply in love with Warhammer as well. Starting off with the Dark Elder as my chosen army and eventually moving on to, as most of you know, the Sisters of Battle. There's little things that we do on a daily basis that also encompass, well, Warhammer. Whether that's doing nightly hobby time together or making sure that when the Warhammer previews come out, we don't check our phones and we make breakfast and sit down together and enjoy a good hour-long Warhammer preview. We love to take Warhammer on our holidays, and even being able to go to Adepticon together is a memory that is very, very special to me because it was just us nerding out at a convention that we were both super excited to go to. And at the end of the day, it is our wedding and Warhammer does play a big part in our relationship, so I just wanted to add that little bit of touch in there somewhere that some of our guests will be able to see and be like, ah, they're massive Warhammer nerds.
It is 3:20 on the Tuesday. I'm getting married on the weekend. Coincidentally, I have finally got to start painting him, and to get the video edited, it needs to be done tomorrow. So this is why we don't do last minute ideas. I'm not stressing at all. Let's go spray it black. In my wedding video, I would only do a sponsor from a game I actually play, and I play Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus every single day. So you collect over 70 champions from 17 playable factions, and that number is rising all the time. And these are characters from the universes of Warhammer 40,000 that we all know and love. I've been so into this game that I've almost unlocked every single character since starting it last August, and have been leading our guild tabletop time and having a lot of fun. There's so much to offer in this game, from fast-paced tactical combat in PvP PvP, PvE, and also guild raids and guild war mechanics if you like playing with your friends. And the legendary Primarch Magnus the Red has just joined the game as a guild boss, and he's a doozy. He's the hardest one I've fought for sure. But as if that was enough content just for October, there's also the brand new faction, the Gene Stealer cults, with 2 characters being made available, including the Gene Stealer Patriarch, who's arriving on November 3rd. There is always something new to do in Tacticus, an event to play, a new way to get some cool stuff, or cool characters from the worlds of Warhammer 40,000. And Tabletop Time actually has 3 free spots in its guild, Tabletop Time. So if you want to play with us, come join in and have some fun. The links are in the description, QR code on screen, and I'd really love it if you could show some love to Tacticus. Genuinely, it is the only mobile game I'm currently playing because it is my favorite one. It's available on iOS and Android, and yeah, go get it now. So while I paint up Guilliman, I wanted to talk about, well, why we chose Yvraine and Guilliman in general. So as I mentioned at the start of the video, Warhammer isn't exactly known for its romance. It's a horrible, grim, dark setting, and any time for love, marriage, and baby making usually happens in horrible hive cities with miserable little family units that no one hears about. We don't hear their stories. However, people seem to love the enemies to lovers trope, and the best example for that in 40k is Guilliman and Yvraine. Guilliman is one of the Emperor's sons, a Primarch, a glorious demigod of battle who was in stasis for 8,000 years and revived by Yvraine, an Eldar witch, basically, who used her Eldar magic and mastery of multiple paths to channel souls into him and heal his wounds that kept him in stasis. And then they worked together in an uneasy alliance between Imperial and Xenos, which is something that doesn't happen often in 40k. It's really taboo and it's looked down upon. This, combined with the fact that Yvraine is a beautiful Eldari, and Guilliman is kind of a bit of a bookish nerd who we can all see as being potentially clueless with women, led to the perfect storm of combinations where a lot of people like to imagine, for fun, this relationship between Yvraine and Guilliman. The awkward Guilliman and the fawning and tsundere Yvraine has turned this into a Warhammer power couple that some people loathe and other people find humorous. Jen and I personally think it's just kind of a bit of fun, and we grew up as super cringe millennials in the weeboo and anime stage of the mid-thousands, so this kind of stuff, this kind of ship is completely fine in our books. But not only that, I'm a big lover of the Horus Heresy and the Primarchs and the book series, whereas Jen has always been a massive fan of the Eldari. And when Yvraine came out, Jen was enraptured with this character and she bought it and painted it. So the combination of interests in the fact that while I usually play Chaos, I am a big fan of the Primarchs and their stories, and the fact that Jen loves the Dark Eldar meant that Yvraine Guilliman ship was kind of pretty perfect. It's kind of funny. Also, by doing it in this tongue-in-cheek way, it felt like a light way of including it in our special day. It's just our cake toppers, it doesn't mean very much, and it's almost poking fun at our love of Warhammer, and Warhammer as a satire in general. Let me know what you think about the Yvraine Guilliman ship in the comments. Do you hate it? Do you love it? Personally, I think it just adds a bit of fun into this community, and we all know it's not so serious. It's just a bit of fun. I don't know, because I've been kind of chill with the Eldar, and it seemed like a pretty good way of getting me a Eldar loving GF. So, you know, maybe that'll work for you too.
So Yvraine is basically done, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the base. There's a couple of options, but I think we're just gonna keep it kind of romantic, I suppose, which makes sense for the day, right? We're gonna go with a temple sort of theme. We've got some awesome basing options from Gamer's Grass that look like a temple. So I'm gonna stick a bit of foam onto the little round base that I have, decorate it with some of those basing materials, and then do some gap filling, flowers, maybe just a little bit of flowers, make it kind of cute. Guilliman also has a dead Chaos Space Marine on his base, so we're gonna take that out. That's not the vibe, so we're just gonna do a little bit of filler and hide that messiness. Thanks, Warhammer. Anyway.
To be fair, it's not meant to be a wedding cake topper, it's meant to be a glorious warrior.
Yeah, still, probably best we don't put that on the base. Anyway. So I'm all done with the foundation of the base, and I think this looks really cool. And I only did this in a couple of hours too, so I'm pretty impressed. There's a couple of pieces that do need to dry on this before I can totally start painting it, but I've just done a brown for now, and then I'll pick out all those tiny little details a bit later. There's only like 1 hour left in the day before this needs to be completely finished. We still have a lot of work to go, but I'm super excited because this is looking really awesome, but there's so much work to do. So let's go ahead and do it. I sprayed everything black, and then went to town dry brushing this up in various colors. All I had to do was glue Yvraine on so the married couple would be together, and threw on a bunch of plant life that would really help set the scene. Now the colors that we'll actually be using on our wedding day are green and a plum color, so I picked out some flowers and some grass that would work really well with the theme. And with those final touches and a little bit more dry brushing, this cake topper is pretty much done, and here is the final reveal.
So the really awkward part about all this that we didn't tell you all is when we booked to get married was shortly before receiving the rather horrible news that we might not have a job for much longer, which was terrifying and frightening, and it is because of you all, the patrons who joined up and gave us a huge amount of support, that we are still doing this, that we're still capable of doing this, and we're able to go into this weekend without being completely terrified that at least for the next couple of months, we're still going to be working, making cool YouTube videos. So we actually owe you a lot, and an immense personal thank you to everyone who's supported the channel. Where we're at is like just almost okay, thanks to patrons, but it is still a really good time to join up and support. There's plenty of perks, plenty of videos we do every week, behind the scenes, sometimes extended cuts, and we'd love to have you there, and an exclusive Discord. Thanks everyone. And thank you to our two newest patrons, the Zacks and Sam R. Jones.
Yeah, my turn on the table. This is so much fun. Look how awesome our little cake topper looks. I'm super impressed with how much work we got done in
Not bad for 2 days.
2 days.
It's been pretty hectic, but it's been a lot of fun.
And now we have an awesome cake topper, and I don't think you were ever going to paint Guilliman. I was never going to paint Yvraine again, and now we have something really special to put in our little cabinet.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun, this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and next time you see us, we'll be married to 2 different people, just coincidentally on the same wedding day.
Take us out, Dave.
You want another go?
Yeah, let's go.
I guess you pushed me around earlier, but the lock wasn't on the wheels when you did it.